well into the no sugar challenge already too. So let's fix this a little bit. There we go. Now we're ready to rock. So we got YouTube, we got TikTok here, and we left off on slide 19 of our weight loss PowerPoint here. Obviously, into the new year, everybody wants to lose some weight, so figured, hey, why not go over some good quality stuff with everybody? And let's get our chats pulled up here. So we got TikTok. Oh my goodness. There we go. We're getting some feedback, so we're all good now. Either way. Boom. Boom shakalaka. We got some people popping in, seeing some familiar faces too, or familiar names. There's no faces. It would be kind of cool if it was more like a Zoom call. I would love that. Maybe we could do those. Who knows? But let's pull up. We got TikTok on. We got the YouTube chats. Boom and boom. Let's open all of them. Wonderful. There we go. So health question and answer plus a little bit on the no sugar. We'll be talking weight loss as well. Why won't this go down? That makes me sad. Hold on, we're always having technical difficulties here. Problem is that oh no, I should be fine. We should be fine. Either way, happy Saturday, people. Let's get it rocking. Like I said, left off on slide 19. We are day 3 into the no sugar and weight loss challenge. So doing it a little bit different this year because obviously with cutting out a bunch of sugar, you're going to lose a bunch of weight. So may as well call it a no sugar challenge. So yes, 2026, here we go, right? 3 days in, let's make her count. A little bit on the no sugar challenge. We have obviously a bunch of resources available. So if you're trying to get signed up, it's completely free. It's just basically a community that we have online through the Wellness Way. We get a ton of resources put out from daily tracking sheets so that you can follow your foods and track them day to day per meal, plus a list of foods to enjoy and a list of foods to avoid. And those are really handy for a lot of people too, because it's just a clear cut, here's even an explanation as to why some of these foods are cut out, because you may be saying, like, what the heck? Doesn't make sense how some of these are cut out because, there's not a lot of sugar in here or whatever it is. I had somebody ask me about kiwis. They're like, but kiwis have so many good benefits to it. And I'm like, yes, they do. But for the month of January, we've been beating the hell out of our bodies since like October with sugar. So it's time to dial it back a little bit. But yes, so we got some people popping in YouTube already, chatting away. Hello, hello, how we doing? Let me know where you guys are watching from, where you're tuning in from. I've obviously got a bunch of herbs that we're going to be talking about today, and a ton of not just pro tips, but even some research-backed discussions as to why and how to lose weight and the struggles that people run into, even when you're doing all the right things. Oh, it's knocking my water over. Doing all the right things and still not getting the results. That's the most frustrating thing ever. So let's get that squared away. We left off on slide 19. I see some questions coming in though, so we'll kind of roll and tackle them with. I've been similar to yesterday, just sort of been answering a bunch of questions, flipping back to the PowerPoint, coming back to the chats. So I'll kind of do that same strategy. Obviously, throughout the whole month of January, we have a bunch of discounts for you guys, as well as all the resources and things for no sugar to make it easier for everybody. We got the Facebook group as well for the Wellness Way Challenge page, which is really helpful because everybody's dropping their meals in there. I've been posting in there a bunch too, basically giving some pro tips and seeing what we got. um, for everybody. YouTube already going crazy um, with the most outlandish things that they talk about on here. We got red itchy scalp. What can I do topically? That's probably going to be coming from the inside, mainly to do with the GI. So when you're seeing some skin issues like that, definitely want to cut some sugar down. Want to do something like Oregon grape and gymnema. So we are going to be talking about those two throughout the PowerPoint today on weight loss and getting sugar down and even helping with sugar cravings and rebuilding your pancreas, which is pretty cool. Rebuilding specific cells within that pancreas. Obviously, a ton of antioxidants within any liquid herb that you do, but supporting the gallbladder, supporting the liver, protein digestion, and all these things. That's like a starting point. Obviously, I would want you to be doing maybe a little bit of colloidal silver topically, and Albizia would be nice within the system there. What's the Facebook page again? It is the Wellness Way Challenge Group. Yeah, the Wellness Way Challenge Group. That's I had to. We renamed it about a year ago, so I wanted to make sure we're calling it the right thing. But good question there. Thank you very much. You're welcome. What do you think about Albizia? Interesting that you mentioned that. It's wonderful herb for mast cell responses and histamine, and getting histamine down, getting mast cells to calm down because that's where the histamine comes from. Um, and commonly dealing with things that come into the body chemically and create a response with food mainly. And that's like one of the first things I give so many people because we're just eating ourselves into a lot of problems, making our immune system go crazy, creating a bunch of chronic inflammation through food. So getting the chemical stress down is a huge asset to anybody going through. It doesn't matter really what the problem is, from a hormonal issue to an immune system problem to having a bunch of skin issues like the scalp we mentioned here. So Albizia, wonderful. Actually, we could go over some herbs here too, but I want to keep a lot of this toward no sugar but yeah, love Albizia here, and you could use some of that topically. It's just it might dry you out, so make sure you're hydrating a bunch, putting a bunch of electrolytes in your water, getting salt sprinkled in there, as I've done here too, and maybe a little bit of coconut oil after you apply that Albizia would be wonderful, so that you can get more of a hydration in there. Keep it moist. People love that word. What's the best natural sugar? It's going to be anything that's really high in fiber so that you can mitigate the sugar coming in. In terms of the best natural one, I would go for like our high fiber food list is going to be blackberry, raspberry. Those two are pretty dominant in terms of mitigating a lot of the sugars available because it's, you know, what, 7 grams of fiber per serving. So, all right. Don't know why I'm straining my elbow like this. But thank you. You're welcome. And obviously, with Gymnema and Oregon Grape, for the person asking about the skin issue up top on the scalp, those two are on discounts for this month. So it's like, oh my goodness, how could the stars align so well, But we got the discounts for you guys. If you haven't already joined the No Sugar Challenge, obviously on TikTok, I'm not to 1,000 followers yet. So hit the follow button, pretty please. I hate asking for something like that, but it's so that I can put the link in my bio and give you guys a crap ton of resources from EMF solutions, even feminine hygiene products that you can get on sale, protein, coffee, all this stuff, even the no sugar challenge sign up sheet. But if you send me a DM, I'll just send you the link anyways. And obviously, coming from the Wellness Way Randolph, because you'll have a clinic thing selected for you there too. So the Walter White Jr. thing. I love that. Oh man, you guys asking me all political stuff. We're trying not to get, thrown off the platforms here. I want to have a nice, pleasant discussion and give value to other people. Help the lives of others here. Nice slick back. Yeah, we got the tallow hair clay coming in clutch. All right. Um, I handled, I think, all the real questions. Um, what are the best anti-inflammatory foods? When I see a question like that, you're going to want to head toward best antioxidant rich. That's kind of like the question that I'm seeing there, because the inflammatory foods are things you should avoid. And getting inflammation down through food is obviously by figuring out what foods you're creating inflammation from, which is why I do testing, figure that out. I think everybody, it's valuable to them to get food allergies ran. We can go through some of those details. That's actually kind of what I covered yesterday. But we can backtrack a little bit if it helps you understand kind of why test for food allergies, not food sensitivities. I want to be very clear on that. Even aside from what the allergists try and say here online and Dr. Rubin and all them. But yeah, like anti-inflammatory foods. My favorite would probably be medicinal mushrooms because that's technically food. So something like reishi, chaga, having crazy amounts of antioxidants within those. And then obviously you have your plants too. So a lot of sprouted veggies, alfalfa, broccoli sprouts, um, things like that. Brussels sprouts also awesome too. Even the berries, those are pretty dominant. Um, Maca powder, camu camu, chocolate from real cacao. It's just dependent on the sourcing there because you're going to run into some issues with lead and things. So, what's the average salary in my state? I'm not sure. Look up New Jersey, and I actually have no idea what the average salary is here. Tallow hair clay, yeah. I don't have a discount for that. I think that's the company's name. I don't even remember, but tallow hair clay, like how people are making the tallow or whipped tallow for the skin and everything. Um, there's basically one for your hair, which is pretty cool. It works pretty well, and you don't have to poison your scalp, and you could actually feed some of the scalp good fatty acids there. Mm-mm. What do you recommend for grassy hair? I know you meant greasy. If it's grassy, take a shower. That's probably your best bet. If it's greasy, your there's a couple things that can happen there. If it's a chemical response to some of the shampoos that you're using, they can dry the scalp out, which is pretty common to see. That's why I don't use any name brand shampoos anymore at all. I use typically a mix of apple cider vinegar mixed with water, depending on how heavy or soft the water is that you're using in the shower and things, or bath, right? I don't want to hate on baths here, but I just use that combination of apple cider vinegar and water at a 50% ratio of both. And you can add some acidity to the scalp. You can dry it out a little bit there, prevent even some issues with fungal things there because of the acidity, and just helping your skin barriers, which do love some acidity on the outer portions of the skin. Doesn't matter where on the body. Obviously, be close to any opening or of the sort, whether that's a cut or a natural opening. It's going to sting a little bit, but yeah, I think it's great for the face, great for the hair. That's the only thing I use in there aside from the tallow hair clay. Um, there's an onion-based shampoo as well if you're dealing with some hair loss things from Van Man Company. Fantastic company. That's pretty much where I get most of my oral hygiene products from. Is Van Man. How do I eat my sugar addiction? And then you put beet. That's kind of funny there. The irony, right? You're eating your sugar addiction. You certainly are. So is everybody, though. And I said this yesterday. Sugar is the one thing that you could wake up tomorrow and you can overdo again and again and again every day because It lights up your brain. It's such an easy fuel source for everybody. And how you start to beat that sugar addiction is by getting a couple of these steps going, which is why we're going over the PowerPoint today, um, or sort of the weight loss slash no sugar lecture info. I don't know, whatever you call it. But the steps that we covered so far: getting protein intake up, getting fiber up, getting your water higher in intake, taking electrolytes in with that. And what was the point that we covered too? I have it right here. Yeah, eating more protein, limiting sugar, increasing water, increasing fiber. Because obviously, taking in more protein, you're going to get a thermogenic effect. I'm just kind of recapping some of the stuff yesterday. You're going to get a higher thermogenic effect of food in higher protein sources. Obviously, you want to go for more of the complete amino acid sources, which we'll be covering today, because there's thermogenic effect on that food. And when you're taking in protein, you're going to use up about 30% of the calories that create that protein source that you're consuming in terms of protein assimilation. So breaking it down and putting it back together. This is pretty much like if you had a Lego steak. Your body has to take apart all those Legos and then put them back together into different tissues. And that's why I test for food allergies, because when you can't do that in proper amounts, certain foods are going to start popping up. Um, Getting the sugar down. I mean, come on, get the honey, get the maple syrup, get the breads, the pastas, the potatoes, the chips, your root veggies or root starchy root veggies out of there, and a lot of the high glycemic sources of things. You want to kick those out. I think there is some value with getting berry sources in, because they will have a lot higher fiber. That's kind of what we covered yesterday. That's why it's on the foods to enjoy list throughout the no sugar challenge. Oh, that's the avoid list. Let's go back to this one. Certain fruits, so avocados, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, lemons, and limes. And the lemons and limes are in there because of the citrus. They are sour. There are a bunch of beautiful constituents to those. I'll even have like the varicose vein smoothie that I often recommend people, which is basically half a lime, half a lemon, some broccoli sprouted veggies in there. So right from the seed, right? Broccoli sprouts, sprouted veggies are different and pretty much 10 to 20 times more nutrient dense than most veggies out there, and very limited in anti-nutrients. The berries in there are in there because of the amount of fiber. So avocados being number one, and then the blackberries, raspberries kind of number two, and therefore so forth and so on and yada yada. I get on some rambles here. Tell you what. What else we got? Tita, I had diarrhea yesterday. Oh my goodness, at 11:30. Took Florestor, no bowels yet. It is 2 p.m. the next day. Diarrhea and constipation are the same thing. So we have to get some hydration in the bowels. I like magnesium citrate. I like aloe vera juice. I like chamomile tincture, not tea. And doing probably a food allergy test, starting there. There's a couple ways you could do that, either through a blood draw or through a finger prick. But I could send you that kit and get you all the resources and things, and try and do any discounts where we can. But send me a message on that, because there's an issue going on with some type of food reaction or immune irritant that your body's responding to, creating that constipation and diarrhea cycle, because it's trying to get toxicity out of the system, and then you can become deficient in a lot of those things too. Because any inflammatory response, whether it's mental, chemical, or physical, is going to lead toward deficiencies or toxicities in some kind of thing. Whether that's the response from the body making it, or the thing that you're taking into the body, that's the outcome typically. So, rambles. Today we're going on rambles, but you guys are asking freaking great questions. So, we're going to keep going. Oh, crap. I got to fix this. Okay, cool. I had to plug something in there. We're getting outlets starting to fail on us. Okay, I'm going to go try and catch up on the TikTok chats, and then we'll head over to the YouTube as, whoa, you are so handsome. Thank you. Electrolytes is salt. It depends on the source of salt. So if you're getting a good form of Celtic sea salt, then you're going to have 82 different minerals in there, which is super cool. And that's just the planet that we were given by God here is just so happens to have all the complete minerals that your body needs right in that darn ocean there. So I love Celtic sea salt. Actually, I got it right here. Look at that. Look how quick that was. Nice little shaker bottle so that I can just go whoop right in there. Some people like to take the pinch and go right under the tongue, as they start to drink the beginnings of their water because they don't want to drink something that tastes like salt the whole time. Uh, it depends on your preference, but if you're not willing to do that, you can do the name brand stuff, Element Tea packets or Ultima. That's another resource. People like that one because it's flavored, adds a little spice to your life. Mesmerizing. You're welcome. And then KZZ, bunch of letters. Interesting. I don't know what that means, but we're going to keep rolling. All right, YouTube. We got a bunch of things to go through. Half of these are not relevant, though. Who would you say are the 3 most known people in the world of all time? I don't know. This is a health Q&A. I don't know. What the? Thanks. Some of these, am I a news reporter? No. Tips for using minoxidil. I don't, no medication questions here. We're all natural health stuff. I'll answer anything natural. Watching you from jail in Norway. Nice. All right. Anything useful here? Tips for, oh my God, like what are these questions, man? YouTube questions are freaking brain rotted to all heck. People always ask about what I'm looking at. There's a TV behind the devices doing the live stream, so it helps me see all the chats, and I don't have to make an earthquake with the phone. More like having a show here because I can cover info and talk to you guys. Okay. What about regular iodine table salt? Nope. That's going to be bleach. That's going to be processed chemically. I don't want to see anybody taking in that. I do see the value in taking iodine for multiple functions throughout the body. But yeah, the typical table salt that you get's terrible for you, to be straight up honest. All right. So we have pretty much handled the brunt of that. I'm going to switch to some of the slides here. We left off on slide 19. So talking about reducing our calories, getting weight down, getting sugar down, how to lose weight, right? Even when you've been doing all the correct things. So again, kind of a summary here, eating more protein, limiting the sugar intake, getting fiber up, and increasing water intake. Obviously, key things that we should be aiming to do there. But all calories, obviously, with the reduction of calories too, that's kind of the point of taking in more protein. So go to thewellnessway.com, type in protein calculator. You could get the actual amounts of protein that you should be taking in every day based on the amount that you're trying to lose. But all calories are equal because calories are just a unit of measurement. All sources of calories are not equal. That's why we talked about protein, fat, carbs, how those divvy up in terms of their effects on each system and how the energy is used. So a lot, a common phrase is like, he has a high metabolism, he can eat whatever, or you ladies hate these type of women that can just wake up, eat 4 donuts in the morning, drink a bunch of coffee, and they're like 100 pounds soaking wet. Everybody hates hates those type of people, but the high metabolism card usually gets pulled there, which is kind of BS, because what does that really mean? So, what is your total daily energy expenditure? Your total daily energy expenditure is the number of calories that you burn throughout a 24-hour period. These calories come from the work that your body does to keep you alive, including your brain functions, breathing, digestion, and so on, as well as your physical activity. So, how much activity you're getting in a day. Overall, TDEE includes everything from fidgeting to your exercise routine. So, I am a fidgeter, and naturally, I'm going to burn up way more calories than anybody else because I fidget all day long, all the time, constantly moving, tapping, all these things. All the work your body does at rest is called your resting energy expenditure. So REE, or basal metabolic rate. That one's really common. A lot of people have heard of that one. This component, your BMR, of your total daily energy expenditure makes up about 60 to 70% of the average person's total daily expenditure. Your non resting energy expenditure, the NREE, is a mix of three components, which include non exercise thermogenesis, thermogenic effect of food, and exercise activity thermogenesis. Metabolic processes. Your basal metabolic rate is the amount of energy in the form of calories necessary for your vital functions at complete mental, chemical, physical, and digestive rest. Jesus. These are processes that happen automatically. Your resting metabolic rate is the number of calories required for the same process while at rest, including breathing, brain processes, digestion, blood circulation. Your BMR makes up most of your daily calorie burn. Again, 60 to 70% of the total calories for the average person. So, the things that influence metabolism or the daily energy expenditure, that's really what we're talking about, is calories, and restricting those calories by getting higher amounts of protein in, plus lean muscle mass. So, caloric restriction plus lean muscle mass plus increases in thyroid function plus increases in liver function get your metabolic rate higher, which is why every day of my life I will be taking in liver, and I'll be taking in things to support my thyroid, like thyroid glandular, which is probably backwards for you guys. Um, but thyroid glandular having grass fed and finished liver and thyroid in there. So I'm getting all the constituents that those organs have and need to build up the building blocks for those organs and support them, which will increase my daily metabolism or energy expenditure, metabolic rate, right? By supporting that thyroid function, liver function, getting lean muscle mass up. We'll cover how to do some of that, plus the caloric restrictions there. Um, so how to build how to build lean muscle mass, increasing protein. We do not eat enough, as is. We do not eat enough protein, and a protein is basically formed out of 20 different types of amino acids and all connected to each other. Our body makes 11 types of amino acids on its own, but we need to get the remaining 9 types of amino acids called essential amino acids. People have heard that term. This is why branched chain amino acids took to the market a while back and took a bunch of people's money through other sources, such as the food we eat. The 9 essential amino acids are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, uh, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. Incomplete proteins. If the protein you eat does not have all 9 types of amino acids, you need to get them from food. It's called an incomplete protein. Incomplete proteins are examples of nuts and seeds, whole grains like brown rice or whole wheat bread, vegetables, legumes in the form of lentils, peas, and beans. So, to my vegetarians and my vegan friends, ouch, right? Because you are eating incomplete proteins. You can't get enough. You will have to supplement. Um, and it is a lot harder. It's not that it can't be done, because you can, as vegan or vegetarian, you can get it done. You just got to be crazy diligent about it. You cannot slack on anything. You have to be very detailed and in how you plan out your day and each day in regards to food and the anti-nutrient load of all these plant-based sources, and how to mitigate those anti-nutrient responses by soaking these things and fermenting them and just doing things in the right sense there. So, but again, complete proteins, if the protein you eat has all the 9 types of amino acids you need to get from the food, it's called a complete protein. Great sources of complete proteins are And let's go through some of those. So, leucine-enriched nutrients and the regulation of mTOR signaling in human skeletal muscle protein synthesis. So, high leucine, and this is just one essential amino acid that we're covering in particular, can also inhibit protein degradation in skeletal muscle. So, a lot of people think that by fasting every morning, I'm going to lose more weight. Meanwhile, and we covered some of the details for adults in maintaining skeletal muscle because you need that lean muscle mass to expend more energy per day and to use up more calories per day. If you're including that caloric reduction there, but also at the same time, if you keep higher protein amounts coming in, you will be able to keep higher amounts of skeletal muscle on your system, on your body. And by doing that, you're basically burning up more every single day, as well as in the liver. In contrast, at normal physiological levels, increasing leucine concentration by infusion stimulates muscle protein synthesis by enhancing its sensitivity to insulin, because your muscles are a major asset in terms of insulin secretion and blood sugar utilization and getting some of that even out of the system. Benefits to consuming at least 20 to 30 grams of protein at a given meal. And I think it should be a little bit higher than that too. That should be the very least. But let's cover the amino acids in beef liver because this is just crazy. And this is why, again, this is why I'm doing a glandular every day of my life, forever. Okay, we're on slide 30. I just want to make sure we're not boring you guys to death. Okay, we'll cover the beef liver and then we will answer some questions and then go back to the slides and cover some of the herbs and things. So again, amino acids in beef liver, and there is 1,800 milligrams of bovine grass-fed and finished beef liver within the thyroid glandular, as well as thyroid glandular tissue. But amino acids in beef liver: isoleucine, 82% of total recommended daily allowance; valine, 82%; leucine, 83; methionine, 89; lysine, 91; threonine, 98; histidine, 107%; tyrosine, 110%; tryptophan, 112; phenylalanine, 147; cysteine, 156. So crazy, crazy dominant in terms of fats. Per serving, about 100 grams here, 5 grams saturated fat, 3 grams. Little amounts of carbs. Total protein, 27 grams in 100 grams of food. That's crazy. So yesterday, for the no sugar challenge, I think it was one of the only things I ate yesterday afternoon or for dinner. It was cod liver, fresh, wild caught, Icelandic cod liver, which is probably the best food on the planet for you. But yeah, that's basically what it was. I didn't take any glandulars yesterday because I had 2 servings of that, so that's like so much nutrient density, and I really wasn't hungry the rest of the entire day. So such a caloric, low there, and just rich in so many different things. Anyways, vitamin D, 49 IUs, not that bad. Calcium, iron, and a ton of potassium in there too. A ton of phosphorus in there. Ton of the B vitamins, ton of vitamin A, ton of B12. Not too much vitamin C, E, or K, but there is some in there. And obviously with vitamin A, you get a bunch of benefits there too. So the vitamin A portion here, a fat-soluble vitamin that's just naturally present in many foods. Vitamin A, important for normal vision. People that are having a lot of night blindness and issues with that, common thing, as well as the immune system, reproductive organ, tissue growth, growth and development of other tissues as well. Vitamin A also helps your heart, your lungs, and other organs work properly because of all the things in there. Minerals in that beef liver: calcium, sodium, magnesium, potassium, manganese, iron, zinc, phosphorus, selenium, copper. And again, that is just with 100 grams. So pretty crazy. But we'll cut her off there. Come on back to the chats here, because I know there's probably 50 quadrillion things in here. Okay, not too many heavy stuff to get through. Is there vitamins that help the thyroid and liver instead? Yes. It would probably be taking in those organ meats. If you have a tissue issue, you should eat that tissue, right? That's my favorite saying there. But do you think stress-related IBS can be reversed? 100%, because it is nothing more than a combination of different stressors that you interact with on a daily basis, from mental, chemical, to physical stressors. So it's not just mental stress. There are chemical stressors there as well. There are food allergies that you can be coming in contact with every day. There are certain fiber recommendations that you should be getting every day. And probably doing a stool test to look at opportunistic infections and the rest of the environment within that GI so that you can rebuild it back and get nutrient utilization out of the upper digestive organs that are going to be a huge aspect or player in those things too. So that you want to get testing for, David, that you want testing for. And a little bit of blood work wouldn't hurt too, because then we would know vitamin D and some of the other valuable markers too, and sugar and all those things will play into this as well. So, um, guys, typically you're going to be eating yourself into some problems. Women, it's typically stress, but it's not as simplistic as that. But yeah, guys are typically eating themselves into problems. Women are typically stressing themselves out, but both parties can uh, see that. But yeah, in terms of stress herbs, ashwagandha I love. Actually, I got some ashwagandha right here. Actually, now that you mention it, oh wow, I have a lot left. I'm gonna take some just for you. Boom. Ashwagandha, get that stress down. That's actually one of the, well, it's not in the PowerPoint, but we can go over that herb as well. Beautiful for the HPA axis within the brain. Slight thyroid adaptogen as well as an adrenal adaptogen. Also helps with T regulatory cell function as well in the body. More of the T1 helper cells, but yeah, really awesome stuff. Very rich in iron. Obviously, like any other liquid herb, is going to be loaded with a bunch of antioxidants for you as well. Beautiful for the immune system. She says, "Ew, cod liver, what?" My mom would make cow liver with rice, and I hated it. You just have to use a imperial crap ton of garlic and onions, and it won't be too terrible, but it's still pretty terrible. I'm stressed AF. I grind my teeth while sleeping and chew through my mouth guard. The Dentec mouth guard is definitely my favorite. The stress, you can see a chiropractor for the physical stress. In terms of mental stress that happens there, I would want you to get some California poppy and ashwagandha paired together. Two best things there. Wombo combo for just getting the stress down completely, getting you ready for bed. Okay. How would you compare your ability to read a chest x-ray to that of a radiologist? Oh my goodness, a radiologist would blow anybody out of the park. I mean, a DAC bar is like your top dog in terms of reading x-rays. I do look at x-rays all the time, but I'm not going to say I'm better than a radiologist. That would be crazy. All right. Got to give some humble honesty there. What else we got? Tips for what are you guys asking on YouTube? Like, what is going on here? Protein makes me sleepy. Should I stop taking dairy? Yes. Because it's not allowed on the no sugar challenge for January. No sugar weight loss challenge. Sorry. Are you a fitness coach? No. I am a health restoration doc here and run my own practice, The Wellness Way, Randolph. All you need to eat is meat? Not true. Not true. You want to do more fibrivore. So, new trend we're setting here. Fibrivore. I'm a vegetarian. Oof, big oof. I can't imagine eating animals. Okay. Plants are prison. you have to try it first. I understand you've never eaten meat. Poison. Bro looks like Adam Scott. What the? Are your claims and vitamins third party? Just ingredients. Oh, why is this not letting me scroll? What if I click over here? There we go. Okay. Are the claims and vitamins third party? Just Ingredients is an awesome third party approved with the bare minimum ingredients at half your price. Yeah, so basically there is no higher clinical grade potency, purity, or concentration than the Wellness Way. That's why we manufacture our own things here because, sorry, I just totally whipped this down here. And you'll notice that too, even on the dosing and within, per milligram and the sourcing of all these herbs and everything, plus the farms next to all our organic farms are all organic too. So that is why we manufacture our own, because a lot of companies say that and it is not, the case. So bum, bum, bum. Company scam. Sad preying on the vulnerable. Well, no, not at all. Because we have pre and post labs to prove pretty much everything. I have testimonies within my YouTube channel that you can go through and look at of pre and post labs. So trying to argue that, right? But go ahead, go keep getting goy slop in your food and vaccines and all this stuff. Keep your sugar high. Yeah, don't take any vitamin D. Go right ahead. All these vitamins wither away when you cook it. And are you talking about vegetables in particular there? Fiber is not even essential. Well, it basically lowers all cause mortality there. So if you're getting in the highest fiber-based source food, which would be chicory root on the planet, you can pretty much lower all cause mortality by doing so. That is so much research back in that. So the ignorance here is crazy. Anyways, how are you, brother? Doing pretty well. I recommend stretching before bed. I do like a good mobility routine. I like yoga's fantastic. I like inversion tables. I like rebounders, foam rollers, um, prolordotic bands, some dental rolls too. Fantastic stuff. Pretty interesting though. What was that other um, thing here? Let me go back to this. So I kind of want to light somebody up here for just a second. Let's go back. Okay. So we are on the Just Ingredients website. Gonna light them up a little bit. Shop. Oh, nice. Selling energy drinks. Basically protein powders, overpriced electrolyte powders. Yeah, this is just a powder-based company. So you saying that they have everything that we have is crazy. Hair, skin, nails complex. It's just collagen. There's no liquid herbs. They have zinc oxalate. That's not even how you should take zinc. That's why people have cycle issues in the first place. And Harper, I'm pretty sure you mentioned that you had that in the past too. So doesn't make any sense. Anyways, how to get rid of pimples? You need to look for if it's an immune response or a deficiency. So it can be toxicity or deficiency. I like people getting enough vitamin A into the system. I like people doing probably something like a digestive glandular, just because you'll be getting tons of the amino acids within those upper digestive organs, plus, the liver in there too, ton of vitamin A. And then maybe even doing something like Albizia, although it can be, an immune irritant there, even branching into Other forms of acne that I've seen, you can have that be from just a ton of sugar and messing with aromatase. So if you are female, that can be affecting some things hormonally too. But again, that's going to come back to some of the chemical things um, and other stuff there. So Buki popping in here. How we doing? And am I in New Jersey? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I had L5S1 lower back pain. Doc gave me this pull acroxia, and I swear to you, the pain felt like my stomach couldn't breathe, and I was rushed to the hospital. I'll never trust doctors again. Interesting. That is unfortunate to hear, though, but there are some things that we can kind of correlate for you and just get a good plan of care or plan of action here for the lower back pain. Obviously, I would want you to see the chiro and things, but um, how can I come to your office? Just send me a message and we'll set everything up there. So, totally. All right. I think how to reverse diet if I was on a starvation diet. So, if I'm understanding the question, is you're not hungry enough? That's kind of how I'm seeing the question there. Stress getting too high, so stimulation from the adrenals. I would get some ashwagandha in the system. I would get some California poppy in the system. And I would be supporting stomach acid before you're eating. I would be reducing your sugars, taking in more protein rich sources and taking in those first. And then I would be doing more of sprouted veggies and higher, containing antioxidant foods like the camu camu powders, the maca powders, chocolate, or even protein powder that you can get a ton of concentration in without having to do a ton of eating. So starting there, going towards your meats is probably going to be your best bet and keeping your sugar low. But yeah, kind of some of those pointers for the metabolism piece there. We were talking about total daily energy expenditure, getting lean muscle mass up, getting your proteins in, getting your sugars down, getting your fiber up, getting your hydration up, um, and getting organ meats into the system too, like liver, like thyroid tissue, doing sprints and resistance training, all of the things that are going to help you build tissues, get a higher total daily energy expenditure, and keep calories down. So that's long-term meat is not good for human health. Not true at all. Not true at all. We just covered how liver is the most nutrient-dense food on the planet, especially something like cod liver. Um, yeah, you can't get all of your essential amino acids from plant sources. They're incomplete proteins, so that makes no logical biological sense at all. But yeah, but fiber is fantastic. Like, um, you know, nothing against plants or fiber here. Yes, but if increased muscle, am I going to raise T question mark? History of PCOS. I don't want high testosterone. I got it below 30. Yeah, you want to get sugar down. And increasing lean muscle mass will improve insulin sensitivity, which PCOS is from an insulin issue in the first place. So you have no problem going against or doing some resistance training in there. My friends in the 70 plus age, doctors are taking them off red meat due to prostate issues. Yeah, it's going to be issues with DHT. It's going to be sources of inflammation that they need to get down. You should be taking in prostate tissue. You should be doing organ meats like prostate, testes, liver, all those things so you can get the constituents to rebuild those organs and those tissues. Men should be more sexually active. That's going to help the prostate there as well because there are muscles important there that are getting things out of the body there as well. Um, what else? Even certain neurotransmitters supporting the adrenals as well so that you can get proper stimulation and high enough hormonal levels in the first place. I do think men abuse the hell out of sugar, and that affects aromatase, and that affects testosterone and the conversions there with testosterone, aromatase, and DHT, and that's why you can lead to some prostate issues in the first place. You can't blame that on meat. So, yeah. Anyways, Are there any artificial sugars that you would recommend? So the best ones for, and this is part of the no sugar challenge, birch bark, xylitol, monk fruit, stevia, and yakin syrup are probably your best bets. Just sent you a message. Awesome stuff. Emma, why do some women get PCOS if they don't have an insulin issue? Um, Other causes sometimes. So usually a history of birth control, that's a common one too, because that will do that. And you have to get enough or all of the hormones assessed. So there are more than just estrogen. There's 7 to 9 different estrogens and their metabolites in total there. So you need to look at all of them. You need to look at them in the blood and in the urine. You need to look at liver health. You need to look at the immune system as well, because that will change liver health. That will change the hormonal systems, the adrenals, things like that. You need to be looking at yeast as well, because that will affect conversion and clearance of the liver. That will affect estrogen metabolism, which can affect aromatase. So, it's kind of like a drainage system. You want to make sure that you're producing enough and converting them all down, which is heavily reliant on having sugars regulated, having insulin regulated, having liver health regulated, and then looking at the immune factors with bacterial, yeast, or even potential viral infections. But that I don't see all that much. Definitely get your proteins up, get some resistance training going, reduce your sugars, get your fiber up. Doing something like white peony and Sasandra would help you a ton, and maybe a methylated B12. They say to stick with fish and chicken only. Yeah, any diet that's going into the extremes is just wrong. Food is a fuel source. It is not, emotionally driven or trying to kill you. So that doesn't make sense at all. It was created by God. Bonnie Joe, what do you think of carnivore or keto diets? I think they're good in the short term, nothing more than 3 months, and you'll probably do fantastic. Overactive immune system can cause high testosterone. Yeah, your immune system and your nervous system can change all the others. People don't realize that, and those are the only two systems that respond to all three stressors, and the only stressors that you can come into contact with: mental, chemical, and physical. So, mental stress alone can affect your hormones. I mean, have you ever stubbed your toe? What happens to your mood, your heart rate, your breathing rate, your digestion? All these things change. So everything's connected. I've seen plenty of women that basically had hormonal issues or hormonal acne or some type of cycle dependent issue, go on to birth control, develop PCOS when it was really something like endometriosis in the beginning. It's just it bottlenecks the hormones depending on what type of birth control you're on, and then develop issues with insulin and all these things. So, getting a good assessment of blood work and a urine hormone test to begin with would probably get us a good foundation. And if it is truly something coming from the GI, we can always look at testing there too. Gabriella, oh, some of these chats are just like painful to go through. Arguing with freaking bimbos here. God did not create animals to massively slaughter for human consumption. I believe there's something in red meat and a large consumption causing high PSA levels. Yeah, if you're feeding the animals corn and soy and government subsidy food processes, yeah, you're going to run into that issue. Everything should be grass fed and finished, and you're not going to have that same issue. Red meat does not kill you. That's complete BS. Um, Statins have been out for decades upon decades looking at cholesterol and all these things. And when you take a statin for like 40 years, your percentage of your longevity changes about 2 days. So I'm not a bimbo. I'm actually a legitation lawyer. You're not a biochemist. You know nothing about human physiology here or plants and plant medicine. So exit the chat, please. You should apologize. No, fuck off. What causes low progesterone? Stress. Can I raise it without relying on Vitex forever? If you get your stressors down, there can be physical, chemical, and mental stressors that change that. You could be my suspicion here is that there is an immune system dependent issue that you do not know about, and that it's trickling into the hormone problem that we have here. All right, cool, cool beans. I have Epstein-Barr virus. Okay, let's get natural killer cells. Let's get CD4 cells, CD8 and CD19 tested, and then we would know what medicinal herbs and mushrooms to be utilizing to get that response back to normal. But again, that is kind of one of the rarer ones, and it may be more of an immune suppressive issue that you're having an issue with, and that constant immune trigger is messing with the hormonal systems there. So, Mom Reishi, good stuff. Maybe even a little bit of turkey tail can help there too. Checking your vitamin D, things like that. Is there a cure or good treatment for emphysema? Um, Looking at chronic sources of inflammation. Obviously, the tissues damaged over the long term from smoking and things like that. Can you get some rebuilding aspects of that back to normal? Maybe. I'm not sure of your history or anything else that has, kind of gone on here, but taking in organ meats can help a ton in terms of getting enough constituents into the system, covering some deficiencies. Doing something like OSHA can help dilate the lungs. But I would need to know more about you, Bonnie Joe. Why are you giving medical advice? You're not a medical doctor. Medical advice includes medications or surgeries. We're not discussing any of those things here. Thank you, come again. The brain rot, dude. The brain rot. Okay, I gotta just regroup here. Okay. How can I lower my dog's pancreatitis levels? Oh my goodness, it is 856. Woof, it needs to be below 200. My goodness, I have not ever helped somebody's dog. You could do an organ meat with that dog, something like a digestive glandular that you're going to have pancreas tissue in there, and just get all the constituents and enzymes that that pancreas utilizes. And I believe it comes from, okay, it's porcine, so still an animal-based source there, but I would be doing that for your dog. Mix that into their food. Emphysema, the stem cells work to rebuild and or restore tissue. All stem cells do that. That's where astragalus and Romani are fantastic with things like that. And you can possibly even add some of that into the person with emphysema talking there. I would just wonder, um, what's been going on there. I would want to talk to you more because getting inflammation down, especially with food, and just having good nutritional consults there as well. You can't just do the. It's not a DIY project for emphysema. I'm sorry. What happens if fat is too low? Brain fog, issues with hormone production, joint pain, a lot of things. In diet showed up on microbiome test. Oh, then go to your wellness doctor and have them review that test. They should have covered all that if you got a test from us, or send it to me. I read a bland diet, low fat, small amounts of FOS veggies. Wellness Way is the biggest scam out there right now. Plus, we have tens of thousands of pre and post labs with everything we do, plus patient testimonials. That's coming out of your ass, buddy. Coming out of your ass. We're just not going to take this kind of craziness here. Correct. I'm not scamming people on here. We're giving away value. Getting people to reduce their sugar is not a scam. Competes with vitamin C receptors, for crying out loud. Not flu season, it's sugar season. Chiros pretending to be physicians. We're not talking about anything to do with medical practice here. That would include medications. That would include surgery. That would include diagnoses. Freaking dumbass, dude. Zero qualifications to do lab work. That's why it's legal for me to run all these tests on everybody within my state and everything. If you were right, I wouldn't be able to run these labs. So, just a fucking pure retard on here. Real professional. Yeah, I mean, how real is it for this? Dumbass to be in here. Yo, sorry, you're out of here too, pal. Enough. Enough. Anyways, what do we got here on the YouTube chats? Look at these people, dude. What are you guys saying? Health Q&A. Cool. Cool. All right. What else we got? Okay. Let's see. YouTube chats. I think we're all caught up here. Yes, that is true. Very true. We got the thought police here too. All right. We ran a good course here. Covered a ton. Do you deny this? What? All right. I don't have enough energy for brain dead chats here. So I'm going to probably wrap some things up. We went a good amount of time. We went an hour straight, which was pretty fun. Hope you guys had fun hanging out. We had to do some butt kicking at the same time, but the shit tackers didn't come in until the end. So pretty awesome. But either way, that was a good time. Thanks for hanging out. Obviously, stay healthy, stay free, as always. Don't forget, no sugar challenge until January 31st. So make sure you're joining that puppy. If you need resources to get you started or the sign up link, let me know. We'll get you signed up, start avoiding those sugars, and lose some weight for everybody. So good stuff. And Beans 95. Just get our session out of the way here. All right. Good stuff, everybody. Peace out.